Hello, I'm Janna, and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. Today, we're going to be having a play with ideology. Now, today's project was inspired by the book The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and to me, this has always been a kind of Christmas themed type of story, so I had to recreate one of my favorite scenes from the book. If you'd like to see exactly which supplies we're going to be using, go ahead and pause here. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. Today, we're going to be creating a card featuring lots of Sizzix dies. We're going to be looking at the From the Vault Christmas Magic. This set truly is magical, and we're going to be creating a cityscape with it. For the next set, we're going to be pulling in Festive Gatherings, and from this set, we're going to be borrowing that beautiful piece of spruce. For our third set, we're going to be pulling in Holiday Classic because, of course, I'm going to need that jingle bell. Can you tell just from all three of these die sets what song I'm thinking of? I bet you can. All right, now let's pull in our substrate and start creating our background. To start with, we're going to be spraying our distressed watercolor paper with a few sprays of water. Then we're pulling in distressed spray stains, black soot, and chipped sapphire. We're going to start with a dash of black soot, and of course we get that beautiful wicking right away. Now let's go in and finish that off with some chipped sapphire. We're aiming for a midnight sky. Okay, pretty good. Now I want to add some sparkle with some Faded Jeans Distress Spritz. So we need to give this a really good shake because if we don't, the sediment at the bottom of the container is going to clog the sprayer and that will give us all sorts of problems. So we need to give this a very good shake. All right, now just a few spritzes here and there for that beautiful added shimmer. So we're going to go ahead and kick this on fast forward as we dry this off and then do a few drip drops. Here is our completed background, and we also went in with a dash of Distress Spritz to make this into a midnight starry sky. Now, let's bring in the die cuts. So we're going to be building a cityscape, and I die cut this piece twice. Now, if you take a close look at these die cuts, you're going to notice that these were die cut from some of the Tim Holtz stenciling packaging from Stampers Anonymous. I love that particular background, and I always save those pieces whenever I get new stencils because those make wonderful pieces to die cut many different things out of. It's great for grunge, good for Halloween, and good for a snowy cityscape. So I'm just figuring out how I want to line these two segments up. I'm kind of thinking that I want this done in multiple layers, trying to make kind of a perspective look. That first piece is going to be our main layer, and I'm going to cut that second piece in half. So let's go ahead, we'll add some collage medium, and then we'll see about adding that other small segment in the front. I'm hoping that this is going to give us a bit more dimension and make the city look a bit bigger than it really is. Alright, so just scribbling on the collage medium right onto our die cut pieces, and then we'll start trimming and building. So that's going to go there. Just going to hold that down, and then we'll see about putting that next piece on. So more collage medium, just a light scribbling. We don't need to go too heavy on this. We don't need glue ooze. So just enough to make sure that everything is going to be stuck in place. Okay. And let's stick this right down. So I'm thinking I want this to just cover the entire front section of the card. That's pretty good. And we're getting a nice stacking effect there with the buildings. I like that. It's definitely giving some more depth, which is just what I was hoping this would do. So now I'm just going to dab off the little bit of glue ooze that came out from behind the buildings, and Then we'll be able to flip this over and do a little bit of trimming. I've got some tonic snips off to the side, and we'll use those to trim off this extra portion of building. Okay, almost there, and just a little bit left to trim. Good. So we'll go ahead and take that extra portion, and I'm going to get more collage medium, and we'll glue that down. So let's just flip that piece over and start gluing. I definitely like the way this is layering up. That middle piece, it's going the entire length of the card. I've got a small half section behind it, and the remaining half section is going to go into the front. So we've got different sections of building. Okay, I am really liking that. That worked out really well, and just the distressed look on that cardboard backing for stencils really gives some visual interest to this. Okay, so that's done. Now we're going to move on to the next step. Now we're going to be taking some Distress Texture Paste Snowfall, and we're going to be adding that to the base of the card because, of course, we want some snowfall on this card. And this is going to give the idea of like a snowy street. So I'm just taking one of the small palette knives from Ranger and scraping that across the bottom of the card. Now, this stuff is pretty cool. It has distress glitter in it, as well as some grit. And it dries beautifully into scintillating snow. It looks really opaque when you put it down, but there's a hint of transparency to it after everything has had a chance to dry. Definitely one of my favorite mediums, especially for the winter. I mean, come on, doesn't that just look like snow? I love it. It is good. All right, now I'm just putting my black rubber band back on my jar to keep it nice and airtight. Just one of the little tricks I picked up from a Tim Holtz demo of how to make sure that our products don't dry out. Now, let's go ahead and add our beautiful full moon. So we're going to put that up in the sky. And this comes in two layers. First is a base layer that I cut out of white cardstock. And then we have a detailed layer of different pieces of cutout of the moon that I die cut from Ideology Silver craft stock. So we'll take that and we'll line it up with the white piece for our 2-layer moon. That's going to be so pretty. The little bit of silver goes good with the sparkling stars that are already in the sky. Can already picture this. It's definitely already turned into a cityscape. Got that nighttime feel going. And now with that beautiful moon in the sky, that's just adding so much to the card. All right, let's go ahead, line that up, and we'll just carefully stick that down. I did pre-adhese the craft stock with some double-sided sticky tape before die cutting. Definitely one of my favorite tricks to make card assembly nice and smooth. Now for some Christmas magic. Here is a lovely die cut silhouette featuring Santa Claus and his reindeer. So we'll just add a dash of collage medium to the back, and then we can add that so we have Santa Claus and his reindeer flying in silhouette across the moon over the city. So we're just going pretty light with the glue. I do notice it's a little stringier than usual. I think that has to do with the temperature in the craft room. It is just a hair cold in Quebec today. It was barely 10 degrees Fahrenheit, so just a tad chilly. And with the windows in the craft room, the heater was definitely struggling to keep up with things. So it might be having a small effect on the glue, but no matter. We continue to craft either way. So just again dabbing up some of the extra glue. There we go. That is good. The card is really coming together. All right, now time to think about some details. So in the Christmas Magic set, there are these really cute little vehicles. And of course I had to die cut a red truck. So we're gonna peel that off the sticky back of the paper, and we can stick that right onto our card. Now, I was really pleased to see that these dies are actually kind of complex. There's so many elements, and you can build the elements to create your scene. And I just love how everything is packaged into one die set, and you can get so many different ideas out of this one set. It's very, very cool. So we've got our red truck, and let's see. Do I add the gate or the trees next? Let's see. Okay, I'm thinking maybe I need to do the trees first. Yeah, so trees first. And I die cut those out of some teeny tiny scraps. And we'll just put those in the back of the truck, and then we'll put the gate around the bed of the truck. Oh my word, those trees are fantastic. Love this. It's very, very Christmassy. Alright, and the trees had like little branchy bits, so we'll take those and stick them on next. Oh my word. Okay, the detail of this is just wonderful. I love this die set. It's really, really good. Alright, so we've got those. Now, honestly, I would not want to be gluing those, so I'm so happy I've been saving my scraps that already have some double-sided tape on the back of them. It makes die cutting so much easier in the moment, because as you can see, this piece I did not add double-sided tape to. It's kind of a pain to glue. So save yourself some pain and some time by always adding double-sided sticky tape to all your scraps. Okay. And that truck is good. Now we're going to be adding in the street light. And I absolutely love this die. It is from an older set, but it's one I've wanted for a really long time, so I was super excited to see it in the vault. Now, to give it some light, I'm going in with a gold foil pen to add little bits of gold to make the light look like it's lit up. The Deco Foil gold pen is perfect for adding just a teeny tiny touch of shine. Okay, so we've got our lit lamp, and now I think we're going to kind of anchor our base. I want to do a washi tape border, but I need the border started so I can place our second car. Now I'm going to be using some of the Ideology decorative tape, and we're going to be using the black one with white dots on it. This is one of my favorites, and I really love outlining my cards with washi tape. I just think it anchors an entire scene. So let's get some of that, and we will stick that right onto our card base. So we're just carefully lining things up. I'm leaving a bit on each end so that I'll have a little tail to tuck behind the card. I find that tucking a little tail behind the card makes things a lot easier and keeps things in place, and I'll make sure that the washi tape won't peel up later. All right, there we go. So we have a ground point that we can now use as a reference. So let's grab that blue car and add that in next. We're going to put that right here. It's going to kind of look like maybe it's parked by a sidewalk. Okay. Yeah, right there should be good. Great. Now, the next thing I want to do is grab the tires for the cars. These are very, very small, and I die cut them from more black scraps, but we'll need to add them to finish off these cars. So we're just going to stick those down, and then we'll continue around the card with our washi tape border. And we also still need to include our evergreen boughs onto this scene. So we'll just finish off with the teeny tiny wheels before moving on to the next step. Okay. There we go. And now we'll need some more washi tape. So normally I would bring in the ATG gun and use that to kind of help the tape stay in place, but I'm thinking glue might be better this time. Oh, also we have to add that really cute wreath to the lamppost with its little red bow. That is just another really cool detail. All right, so we've got that. Slide the bow into place. Okay. Pretty good so far. Alright, so back to the tape. I need to get some glue and carefully run that along the edge. So just a very thin line, and then add in the washi tape. So we'll peel off a little bit more, make sure we leave a little bit for the ends, and stick it right down. Okay, lining things up, and that looks great. So we can now tuck those little end pieces behind the card base. Okay, now it is time to move on to our evergreen pieces. For the evergreen pieces, I die cut these out of some of the Sizzix cardstock collection. I happen to love that collection because it is textured, and I do like a little texture on my die cuts. Alright, so I'm just doing some careful weeding on here, and then we can start adding these to the corners of the card. So we're just going to use bits and pieces. I'm not going to use an entire branch in one shot. I can actually break that right about there, and then I can use that for another segment of the card. I'm kind of thinking I just want to put these in the top corners and maybe just a little bit in the middle. I'm just trying to bring in some more color to the card, and I think it adds more depth as well, since it looks like the boughs are really close up and the rest of the cityscape is kind of further away. Alright, so I will need to tuck this under that other piece of tape. Okay, and we'll do a little bit of trimming. Got the snips back, just trimming these edges off. And yes, there is double-sided sticky tape, so that made that cut a lot easier. Alright, so we're going to want more boughs. So let's go ahead, we'll take this, we'll take that sticker backing off of it and place that down. I think I'm going to break up this branch the same way I did the first one, just taking that very floofy part and leaving the other part for another section of card. Okay, and just a teeny tiny bit of weeding to do, and then we can stick that right down onto our card. So let's see here. Alright, right there seems pretty good. Just a little bit of overhang. I can easily snip that off later. Yeah, that is working out. I really like that. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I want one more piece. Let's see. Where would I place it? I'm just going to do a little bit of weeding, and that'll give me a moment to think. Sometimes when I'm making, I don't always know exactly what I'm going to do until I try something. And if I like it, we keep it. And if not, well, we try again and see if another angle can work better. So let's see. Where are we going to place that? That seems like a good spot. Just bring that down the side of the card. I like how this card is definitely not turning out symmetrical. Having a bit of asymmetry going on definitely adds more visual interest. All right, so coming back with the snips and cutting off those extra pieces, and now we can continue our washi tape border the rest of the way around the card. So again, more collage medium, running a thin line, and then grabbing the tape to cover up our rough edges. I also like it because it really does cover up the edges. Sometimes when you do a lot of cutting and you can see a lot of layers and everything doesn't quite cohesively fit together, adding the border can kind of hide those little jaggedy edges. And I just still think it really gives the card a more finished look. Alright, so we've got our glue. Now we need a little bit more tape, and this is our final side. Okay. That is good. And line it up and stick it down. Great. Oh, this is really coming together nicely. This really is Christmas magic. I love die cuts. Okay, so that looks pretty good. No, just need to clear our scraps, and I'm definitely thinking we're adding droplets to this. How can I not? We've got the border, we've got all the pieces, and a little splash of gold would really look nice. It would kind of bring out the touch of gold that we put in the street light. Ooh, but before we do that, I think we need to bring in some bells. And do note, these are silver bells. So, put that right in the corner. Do I want more? That is a good question. Do I want another bell? Or is that going to be good enough? You know what? We're going for a single bell. And now the droplets. So, we'll just pull in that tin, open it up, and we'll need to do a little bit of digging. So we'll just pop that lid open and grab our pieces. So I'm going for 4 of the large gold droplets, and we'll just put 1 in each corner. Okay, there we go. That wasn't too bad. Didn't have to rummage around too much. So let's place our droplets. And just 1 in each corner. There we go. Okay. So we have got our droplets. Now the last thing that this card is going to need is a sentiment. And what better way to finish off a card than with this year's Tim Holtz Ideology Christmas sticker book. So I've already pre-selected my sentiments, and well, you're going to be able to figure out just by glancing at the stickers exactly which Christmas song inspired this card, if the dies didn't give it away first. So in the air, there's a feeling of Christmas. Silver bells. Perfect. Here is our completed card. I had so much fun putting this together. I love playing with die cuts and building scenes. And this to me really is Christmas time in the city. Thank you so much for joining me here today while we created our Silver Bells card. Until next time, happy crafting.